Tyrion at King's Landing. His father hates him, father hates him, father hates him, father hates him.
Theon, he's getting tortured, and he deserves it, he deserves it, he deserves it, he deserves it.
There's Jorah, he's on a pussy, he's a pussy, he's a pussy, he's a pussy,
Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones.
Aha! Not a man at all. A hound! So good to see you again, Clegane.
Thoris, the fuck you doing here?
Drinking and talking too much, same as ever. A pretty prize, lads.
Yeah. Girl, what in seven hells are you doing with the Stark bitch?
All right, because as if we don't talk enough during our podcast, we thought, hey, let's talk about one of our favorite shows, which is Game of Thrones. And this is the Fresh Take Game of Thrones podcast where we kind of recap the last episode, which was a snooze fest.
Yeah, Eric was not a fan, man.
Not a fan of the last episode. In fact, I will tell you this. By the way, it's Eric Droz, Rob McDonald, Adam Konech, the same people you know and love from the Fresh Take podcast. I was going to start off by saying that more on the Snooze Fest, which was episode 2 of season 3 this season. I mean, only 2 episodes deep here, obviously, but just flat. It's been flat compared to season 1 and season 2 for me personally. It's in a lull. There's a lull. That's how I expand it. L-U-L. Lull. Yeah, there's a lull.
Not a lull.
No, not a lull.
That's
a lull.
Laughing out loud at this stuff.
That's right. Yeah, it's a lull. Game of Thrones. Yeah, it's in a lull right now for me. Which is and by the way, here's because I don't want to be, oh, you don't like Game of Thrones. Get off the air. Blah, blah, blah. This is one of my favorite shows on television, if not my favorite show on television. And so it hurts me, it pains me to say this because I want
it to succeed.
To succeed. I want it to be good. And don't get me wrong, it's been good. But I expect it excellent. And for me, so far, these first 2 episodes have been good. The first one being better, I thought, than the second one. I find that we're sitting around waiting for a lot of things to happen, and I appreciate that. I can appreciate story building, and I know it's a complex story, but from everything that I've heard, from everyone that has read the books, and Rob could probably back me up on this one, this is supposed to be the best book by far in the Game of Thrones series, and
I agree with
the
that,
season is flat.
Which is why I think that they're splitting it into 2 seasons.
Absolutely.
And you can tell why they're doing it just with all the storylines we have to deal with right now. And my theory of why people think it's boring, personally, I'll get into it a bit later, but I really liked the episodes. I really like the build-up. I really like that kind of stuff, the stories and the little intricacies and stuff like that. But what my theory is that things are happening that a lot of people guessed would happen, right? Like, obviously me and you, Eric, we're theorizing on what we think's going to happen. And a lot of that stuff's coming true, right? But we kind of, and it's not very exciting when you see what your guesses, like what you guessed is going to happen. You see it happening on screen because you're like, okay, I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. Yeah. But these things have to actually happen in the show to progress the story.
Sure. And I completely understand that. But I would hope that there's a way of showing things where, okay, here's what I mean. Let's say we're the creators of the HBO series, The Game of Thrones, okay? I know this is obviously a book, but what I'm saying is, let's say we are the people in charge of making the show. And we're sitting around and we're going, okay, people are probably guessing some things that are going to happen, and we still need to show this stuff, like you're saying, Adam. There's still a way of showing things that's exciting. Right? There's still a way of making scenes that are more exciting than what they've been doing. Like, for example, that whole thing about Bran being a
warg.
A warg. Yeah. Cool. That's cool fucking shit. I love that stuff. I love that kind of fantasy stuff. That scene that they had at the beginning in with Jon Snow when they had one of the guys and his eyes was white and he was up in the hawk or the eagle or whatever and he was scouting. That shit is cool. Okay? But how did we find out that Bran is a warg? Nothing happened with Bran. We all saw it coming because we knew
we all guessed that he had some sort of powers.
He had some kind of power, so we had those hints, and we all knew that there was something up with Bran. Correct? How did they say it? They were walking down the side of a road, and a dude that they just met told him that he was a warg. That's what happened. And again, like I appreciate the intricacies in.
How's it going over there, buddy?
You know what I'm trying to get at here.
I have no idea, Eric. Please tell me what you mean.
I can't find the word. But more to your point, where that you were saying that you enjoy the little things about storylines, I do as well. We're very alike, you and I, in terms of like watching TV shows. I enjoy that stuff as well. All I'm saying is that
they could have done it with a more exciting way.
All I'm saying is that if you honestly think that Game of Thrones Season 3 has been on par with Season 1 and Season 2, I think you are lying to yourself because you love the show so much. Honestly, that's what I think it is. I want the show to succeed too, but I am not going to lie to myself and say that the first 2 episodes of Season 3 were good. Or that they were great. They were good. They weren't great. And I was talking to Rob in the car on the way over, and I brought up a few things. Joffrey isn't nearly as big of a douche. There's no villain that I want to throw out a window. Like I still want to throw Joffrey out a window because of what he's done in Season 1 and Season 2. But there's nothing. He hasn't done anything right now.
Well, but
right?
I get that, but at the same time, like I think that as somebody, I can just still Joffrey. I hate him so much because of. I can remember like all the shit he's done. Like for me, he doesn't need to do that much more for me to hate him any more than I already do. Like
sure.
I'm almost at my maximum hate level. I think.
Well,
like
probably
my hate-o-meter
right.
is like pretty much max.
It's in the red. Yeah.
After he
took off Ned's head. Yeah.
Took off Ned's head, then it shows Sansa. I was kind of like a pwing.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, that's the one thing with Joffrey is that in Season 2, I actually hated Theon more, I think, than I hated Joffrey. So I kind of had some joy in terms of seeing him. Oh, yeah, there he is. He's getting tortured. Getting tortured. I'm like, okay, this brings a big smile to my face. But in Joffrey, yeah, he's very hateable. I mean, all the stuff that he does and everything. But he also brings a certain enjoyment to the episode that he hasn't been bringing this season so far because of the fact that he's not this villain. He's not the hateable character.
Yeah, there's no hateable character that you want to stick an ice pick through.
Yeah.
In the first 2 episodes, you know what I mean? We were mentioning the evil fucking
Melisandre.
Witch.
She's like the closest possible thing.
But
right
even
now.
then, like we don't know anything about her. Do you realize that we don't know anything about her?
That's all I've talked about her is how I know nothing about her.
Right, right. But what I'm saying is, so if it's not Joffrey, if it's not her, Cersei is just like fucking blah in this.
She was in like one scene in the last episode.
Yeah, like there is no one to really fucking hate, and that's part of the reason why I loved the show, why I love the show so much is because they let things happen in this show that you wouldn't think of Hollywood letting happen. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. Like you go, oh, that guy's not going to die. He's fucking Sean Bean. That's the main character. How can that guy die? / head gone.
Oh, well,
it's like, okay, now I fucking hate you.
Except if you know Sean Bean's acting career, you know he dies in every movie.
Sure. But you get my point. And so far, and I know it's only 2 episodes, but if you think about it, that's 20%. We're 20% done now this season.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's what I was saying before. Like we are like, it's only 10 episodes. You got to realize, but once again, like you kind of have to think of this as a 20 episode like season. If you're thinking of splitting it into 2, you kind of have to look at it as
Adam,
like.
Do you realize that we're going to need to wait 12 fucking months?
It sucks. I'm not saying it doesn't suck that they have to wait, but I'm saying that like this.
So give me something is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because I know that in. Let's see, 8 weeks from now, I'm going to have to wait 12 months to get the other fucking part of it.
I have absolute faith that this series is that this season is gonna pick up. Like I'm 90% sure that shit is gonna happen. Like there's no way that they're gonna just ignore what happens in the books because everything I've heard about the books is fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things is that after it, there was the same complaints with you, Eric, in that, this kind of slow episode was kind of slow paced and, not that much happened. And right away, the producers came to the stage and they were like, this is the slowest it will be throughout this season.
Well, good.
Things will start happening afterwards.
This is the slowest it's been. But not just this season. This is the slowest it's been.
Well, the thing is, I didn't like how season 2 started either. In that, I thought like the first 3 episodes were like some of the weakest the show has ever been too, because it was like
kind of think of that
it was
too.
like in that second episode, it's like you get it was pretty much all Theon centric in that's when he went to go see his father and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, but
with his
Joffrey almost
sister.
drowned a dude in wine in the
Yeah,
opening scene
that's
of
a
the
short
season,
note.
and I
Yeah,
fucking hated him
that-
more for it, and he's done nothing.
That opening episode of season 2 was fantastic. Absolutely, it's been better than both these episodes. But then it went into a lull as well. I thought season 2, and
I was gonna bring that up as well.
and it came back pretty much in season 2 the moment that they killed Renly. I would say that's when it started becoming.
Yeah, I didn't mind. I didn't mind the opening of season 2, the first couple of episodes, because I don't know. There was still more of a mystery factor. There was still, because right now, okay, let's go
There's
over.
so much of a mystery factor right now. Everything's a fucking mystery.
With what? Okay, with what? So we know that. Okay, so here's the other thing. I'll admit Daenerys is one of my favorite characters, and she wasn't in the episode, so that probably had something to do with it. But here's the thing, and Rob brought up an excellent point when we were coming over here. Okay, they left episode 1 of this season in a fucking cliffhanger. Okay, with Daenerys running into Sir Barristan, and then they didn't mention it in this episode at all.
Well, yeah. Well, there was no one to mention it, but what we were talking about was that I just hate when shows do a big cliffhanger like that, and then you want to see the result in the next episode, but you don't see it because you don't get these characters in it.
Yeah, because there's so many storylines. Because they had to do the Bran, and they had to do the Arya storylines.
I get it, but it's like, but it's like, okay, there are so many on it. What's happening right now that we have people from all sides of the world marching for the Iron Throne. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Except Rob's fucking sidetracked. He's going to a funeral. Tyrion, his storyline has literally not progressed the entire time that he's been in this season. All we know, in the first episode, his father told him that he hates him. Okay?
Pretty much,
which we already knew, because during that time, if you're a man of his stature, you're going to be hated and you're going to be looked as a parasite that killed your mother. That's nothing that we didn't know, except now he was finally told. Again, they didn't. That scene was pretty good. But other than that, what does he have? He's been in scenes with his Shay. Is it her name?
Shay,
is
yeah.
He's been in scenes with Shay, and every
Gets a little
scene
bit
that he's
blowy,
in with
you know?
Shay, every scene. This is how every Tyrion scene with Shay goes. He comes in, she's upset. He's upset because she's somewhere where she's not supposed to be, so he tells her that she can't be here. She ends up giving him a blowjob, and the scene ends. Seriously. Yeah. That's what's been happening with, and there's nothing.
Sometimes she makes fun of him a little bit too.
Yeah, she makes fun of him, but like, honestly, man, and it happened in the first episode and it happened in the second episode. The same scene. And so from that perspective, I'm just thinking like, okay, I still think that like Tyrion is going to have some kind of role. Something's going to happen with Tyrion. Something, there's going to be something coming with Tyrion. But I guess I just want to see it because, like, here's another example: Jaime and Brienne were walking the entire episode, and then they had the most pathetic sword fight ever.
I think that the sword fight was supposed to be pathetic.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Based on the fact that Jaime is tied up and he's like exhausted, and Brienne's just kind of toying with him the entire time.
Exactly. No, and I get that, but it was just. I felt awkward watching the scene because it was such a pathetic sword fight.
And you're just supposed to like, you start to feel like, oh my god, Jaime, you're just a useless character right now.
Yeah.
It's a key point for Jaime, especially in the books, because it's not much of a spoiler, but it's just like literally in the books you get his point of view during this whole scene, and the whole time he says, "I'm going to grab the sword and I'm going to kill her. I'm going to kill her in a couple strikes." And it was literally a moment where Jaime gets humbled yet again. And so this is his time getting humbled in a one-on-one sword fight, and he's widely considered as like the best
with a
sword
woman
fighter
too.
With a woman, and he's widely considered as the best sword fighter in the entire Seven Kingdoms. It's just a big humbling moment for him in the books.
And I just want to talk about the things I did like about the episode, because there were a lot of things that I really enjoyed watching. I really liked the Brienne and Jaime interactions, just his constant wit. He's so witty. The entire time.
But we still didn't really learn anything. That's my point, right? And I'll let you go on. But like, I enjoyed their conversations as well because I thought like it's written really well. But we still really didn't learn anything, right? Like, that's my point.
What do you mean by learn anything? Like, what are you looking to learn between those two?
I don't know, Rob. I don't know what happens.
Okay.
You know what happens. I don't know. But what I'm saying is I didn't learn anything I didn't know.
Yeah, okay. All right,
they didn't reveal anything that I didn't already know. So it was literally a witty conversation walking through a forest. At the end of the day, I didn't learn anything. Sorry, go on.
All right. Another thing I really liked was the scene with Rob's wife. What's her name?
Oh,
yeah, Rob's
yeah.
wife.
Rob's wife,
Yeah.
and his mom, Rob's mom.
Mm-hmm.
They were like when she's making that dream catcher, and she's like
Yeah.
explaining, she's
Yeah.
like crying and then she explains about how
She hated John.
She hates John. I
Yeah.
thought that was really a really good scene for me personally, because like it was cool how she's just like, all this bad shit that's happened to us is because I can't love Jon Snow. Like all this shit's happening because I can't love
a very good bonding moment
I can't love
for
a
sure.
motherless child.
Yeah.
And it just shows more about her character, how she's not perfect. Like you look at her in the first season and you think, oh, she's one of the good guys. She's one of the good people. And or like with the shows, even the good people are not all that great when you look at them. Like they're not,
and they admit it, right?
and they show in this scene, like you can see, like I really felt like, wow,
Yeah.
bitch move,
Yeah.
Rob's mom, like,
Yeah.
how is this John's fault at all? But you can see, like, all these interactions they've had, she does not love him at all. Like, she goes out of her way, and in the first season you see it, she's just like, get out of my house, get out of here,
Yeah,
when
no,
she's
and
visiting
that
Bran
was very and that was a good scene, and you're absolutely right. I agree with you there. Remind me what happened with Arya, because I can't remember.
She got captured by the Brotherhood. Well, not captured, pretty much asked to go to dinner with the Brotherhood, and then at the end, the Hound is captured by them, and then they all learn that that's
the Hound
right,
back. Yeah.
Stark's girl. That's Stark's
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah,
And
so
the Brotherhood's another thing Another thing that I'm interested in is the Brotherhood, because they're really mysterious to me right now.
Yeah,
They seem
yeah.
just like a bunch of drunkards who are just really talented with their weapons.
Yeah,
That's
maybe
all that-
maybe that's what they are.
I
Yeah.
think that's what actually, like, literally their entire profession is, just being drunk and killing people.
I want to see more giants. I think is what I'm
giants
trying to
look
get
cool.
at. Yeah, I want to see more giants.
Is what the moral of the story is, we want more giants, everybody.
So sorry, Rob, you had some.
Well, so that's one of the weird things about it all, is that right now there's just so many characters in all these different places in the show right now, in that you don't get to see it. You get the one scene with Tyrion, you get like one scene with Jon Snow.
I
every
feel like
episode.
I almost feel like it'd be better if they just ignored some storylines.
Well, and you know
until
what?
a while later.
And you remember me saying that to you, is that I'm fearing for this show. Before the season began, I remember telling you, Adam, that I'm fearing for the show because there is just so much going on now. And then I was telling Rob coming in that you have 60 minutes, 55 minutes in every show. So literally every second counts with what you're doing, with what you're portraying on screen. If you're really trying to tackle the entire book, like every single second counts. And all I'm saying is that I feel like sometimes, like, they want to show Tyrion because they know that everyone likes Tyrion, but it's the same fucking scene. Like, there's nothing new with it.
You almost have to treat this season like a 20-hour movie and pretend you pretend that it's not being broken up over, like,
but
weeks.
here's the thing: there is such thing as too much. I think we can
I
all
agree.
agree that there is such thing as too much. And all I'm saying is that they are bordering on, okay, what the hell? How are they going to do this? Because there is so much going on that they need to fit in these storylines, and they're giving certain characters, 1-2 minute scenes in one episode, and then you're not hearing from them again until the next episode, right? And so that it could get. All I'm saying is it could get really annoying, and I can see it getting annoying because I'm beginning to get annoyed, which is just something that I wanted to point out. I guess.
See, I'm not at your phase yet, but I can see how, like,
it could get.
I can see myself thinking, like, okay, I haven't seen Daenerys in, like, for goddamn ever, and all we know about her is, like, and she hasn't even gotten on a goddamn boat to go to the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah.
And, like,
we're going into episode 3.
Yeah, exactly. It's easier when you're reading a book because then it'll happen in a couple pages.
Yeah,
but
and I can pick it up at any fucking time and read
and
it.
that's it's not even a sense of, like, they're doing a bad job. It's just me personally being like, I want to be able to see it now, and I can't because I know these things are going to happen eventually, but having to wait for years for this thing to resolve.
Let me basically sum up really quickly what I'm saying, and I think everyone will understand when I say this. See, in the last season, the part where Arya and was with that butcher's boy, and they were sparring in the field, and then Joffrey came with Sansa, and she ended up what's the word, desorting, taking the sword out of Joffrey's hand and disarming him. She basically beat him, right? And it's like, that was a pretty exciting scene because you knew that shit was coming because he's the prince at that point.
He's a dick.
And he's a dick. So then they had this scene with Robert Baratheon and the disciplining and stuff like that. And then it's like, okay, some might argue, well, that wasn't a very exciting scene. But what do they show after when Ned has been ordered to kill one of the wolves? What do they show after?
Yeah, because the wolf bit
right,
Joffrey as well.
But it wasn't that wolf. It was a different wolf,
Yeah.
right? So he's killing an innocent wolf, and he's on his way to do that. And how do they even add to the viewer's misery? Like, already that I'm pissed off that he's killing an innocent wolf, and the fact that Joffrey lied. How do they add to it? By bringing by a horse with the butcher's kid dead on it, and now you're even more pissed off. This kind of stuff isn't happening in this season. Nothing like that has happened. There hasn't been a scene where I'm like, okay, wow, I'm just pissed off. Like, this is so unjust, right?
Yeah.
Like, nothing has happened in this season so far to keep me so, like, glued to the screen to be like, fuck you guys. You know what I mean?
I forgot to mention another scene that I really, really liked is the scene with Sansa and the Tyrell grandmother.
Yeah, that was funny. See, that was funny.
It was very funny, and it was very cool for me to see Sansa finally tell someone besides Shay how much of an asshole Joffrey is, and she finally, you can see she's starting to break, right?
I think
she's starting to, like,
I think it's a mistake though. I would never fucking trust the Tyrells, and I would.
Oh,
and
that's why. Like,
and
that's
I would
why
never. I wouldn't trust anyone in King's Landing.
Oh,
I can't believe
wouldn't
she
either,
finally
but, like,
broke.
you can see she as a character, she's starting to, like, degrade while being in King's Landing, nowhere near her family, and she has to tell
wouldn't
somebody.
fucking trust them.
Well, yeah, it's like at this point, it seems like she's actually starting to rely on some people. She's relying on Peter Baelish. She's relying on Littlefinger, right? And he's promising to get her. Yeah, he's promising her to get her out of there. And now she's entrusting in Tyrell. So it's really a question as to what's going to happen.
If there's anything I've learned watching this show is don't fucking trust anyone ever. Okay, so really quickly before we wrap up here is what are you guys expecting for the next episode? Who are you expecting to see? Hopefully they show Daenerys.
Yeah, I mean Daenerys. Yeah, I hope that she shows up, and
Dragons.
you know, I want to see more of Davos as well, and possibly more of Theon getting tortured.
I want more
I'm
actually okay with leaving the Theon story for a while. I'm okay with leaving I want to see. I think the next episode is going to be more Daenerys heavy, more Jon Snow heavy, and more like Davos heavy. I think they're gonna leave King's Landing alone a bit. I think they're gonna leave Robb alone a bit, like Robb Stark, and focus more on these other characters here.
Well, that's what they need to do. They need to like put away a couple of these storylines. I mean, I'm not even speaking from a book sense in that you need to focus on these characters and give them more scenes to be with right now. Because really, right now, like the main relationship I think that they've developed this season so far is that Cersei hates Marjorie. And it's like a chess match between those two.
Cersei and Joffrey are drifting apart. Yeah.
Cersei and Joffrey are drifting apart because Marjorie's getting in his ear, or in some sense, you know.
He's hitting puberty and he's starting to like girls. That's what's happening. He has a boner. That's what that's called.
Wants to put the P in the V.
He wants to put the P in the V, the D in the V. Hey, was it just me when Marjorie got her hands on the crossbow that was hoping just turn around and beat him with it? Like you don't even need a fucking arrow.
I was so just like you could do it. You could do it right now. Just beat him to death.
Beat him to death. Can you imagine this small girl just beating a king with a fucking giant crossbow?
His hand walks in, or his servant walks in. He's just like, I'll come
let
back
me help.
later.
Let me help.
Hold on, let me just grab this spike, and I can join in here.
All right, so there you go. That's our take on the last episode, and a small amount of forecasting of what we think is going to happen in the next episode. Look out for this on YouTube, and do a comment. Let us know what you think.
Do a comment.
Do comment.
Oh, I said do comment.
Do comment. You know.
Do. Okay,
yeah. Okay, this was the Game of Thrones podcast on the Fresh Take.
What do you want?
I want to do this.